I asked my community to help me out by sending Pokemon eggs to take on Blaze Black. And if you're asking yourself if my community is a supportive one, let this clip give you an insight.
10-4 was a code in Kokonma? What the fuck is a Kokonma? Oh my god, dude. Oh, just get me out.
So this is the story of how my community helped me take on Pokemon Blaze Black in an Egglocke. Pokemon Blaze Black is essentially a harder Pokemon Black with gyms with 6 Pokemon with way more hard fights. So I need my community to be kind to me, but how exactly does this all work? For every encounter on our route we would catch, we instead spin the wheel to determine what egg to hatch. Whoa, wait a minute, why does this Rotom have Drought? Rotom only has Levitate and doesn't even get access to Overheat. Well, that's because I allowed the community to give me a Pokemon with no restrictions on moves and abilities. This gave the players, for better and for worse, more options with what they could do. For example, the very first Pokemon we hatched was an Altaria of Contrary, which inverts stat changes. Who only has moves that normally boost Pokemon with positive effects, meaning this bird has a chance to get worse every time I attack. Thanks for that. Pokemon Blaze Black is a fast-paced early game, meaning the first gym quite literally is around the corner. The first gym is a rotation battle, which is exclusive to Gen 5. Luckily, some decided to be generous, and we hatched the Duke of Arrakis himself, Muad'Dib. This bug will single-handedly sweep the gym. Right, I can see the comments already. What do you mean? It's hard, you have OP mons, your community is too nice, it's free. Once the early game will be more comfortable with powerhouses like Volcarona, I'd like you to hold on to that thought as we look at the next set of encounters. Fellow Nuzlocke RWXO decided to hand in a Squirtle with an interesting moveset. I'm not quite sure what this is exactly insinuating. Let me know in the comments what moveset you would have given the toy. To top it off, the same person who pulled off the incredible bait joke in the beginning submitted a Shedinja. And does it have Wonder Guard? No, of course it doesn't. It has a weak armor, making the normally insane Pokemon have very little viability. But little does my community know that I'm going to use their shitty Pokemon to their full potential, and this Shedinja, whilst being a meme, will be a valued member of the squad and play a key role in some of the hardest fights ahead. As we leave the first gym behind us, we were locked into a double battle with Charon, and it feels like the game knows that my box is too strong, as the team Plasma Grunts, despite the fact that there is a literal 1 HP Pokemon right there, are constantly attacking my Pokemon.
Huh? What? What? Oh bro, Gen 5 AI is so weird. Like, this guy's on 1 HP and they're just like, nah, forget about it. Don't worry about it. I mean, there's just no way, right? What the fuck is this guy paying them? Okay, it's just personal at this stage.
Despite the very clear bias these grunts are showing, I storm towards the second gym leader, Lenora. Now, normally Lenora is a verified run killer in Blaze Black. She's a double battle with Pokemon ready to spam Helping Hand or Retaliate, wanting to avenge their fallen allies. Despite having great Pokemon early on, at lower levels these fights can be a lot closer than they need to be due to the higher volatility of damage in the early game. Whilst those that submitted eggs didn't know what the others had, they already display great synergy across different Pokemon, as Noodle and Muad'Dib rock up together to bring some much needed sun into the library. Whilst my team already displays great synergy, it is Lenora who doesn't quite have her act together.
Okay, I forgot they had potions. Helping Hand.
Seems Lenora wanted to remind me what she's capable of, as her Bouffalant rips a Helping Hand with a boost to Retaliate, which takes down my Altaria. I guess the joke really was on me, as contrary to my belief, Altaria was actually performing pretty well. Altaria here was for a fun time, not a long time. Rest easy. The rest of the fight goes according to plan, and I grab my second badge, heading straight to Pinwheel Forest. Blaze Black is a very boss rush heavy game, so a lot of the random trainers aren't much of a threat, but we do need someone to guide the way through. Introducing Knaki, the Choice Scarf Garchomp, a genetic freak ready to tear through anything in its path. This encounter will make any random trainers in this run scream in fear. Whilst Garchomp is our brute force, we also need something that can slow down the opposition. two Pokemon that will be staples of this run are Shava, the Skizor, and Basti, the Snorlax. In no time at all, we are looking at Berg. This is yet again another double battle with crazy Pokemon for an early game boss. Rotom Wash will set up some Sunshine to allow for an increase in fire moves and reduce the effectiveness of water type moves. In tandem with Knacky, the two destroy the opening Pokemon in their first turn. Berg sends in Levani and Scolipede. Both can be quite tricky to deal with, but Rotom Wash switches into the Duke of Arrakis, who's being targeted by this worm with a Rock Slide, and it narrowly escapes the death on 20%, only for the Levani to look for a kill. Oh, this could die. Oh my god. Oh my god, what a hero. Apollotrades, what a deep Duke of Arrakis. Let's go. The Duke's flame body burns the Levani instantly, culling its attack in half, making it nothing more than an annoyance. To save the Duke, I switch into Shira. This competitive technician set is incredibly strong, and its type profile is exactly what I needed for this fight. Whilst Muad'Dib was holding on for dear life, Knacky, who fought so hard to build a reputation of carnage across Unova, decides to miss. Skizor primes itself with Swords Dance and begins to rip through Berg's team. Little opposition, we grab our third badge and make it out of the early game of Blaze Black with only one death in a box ready to shred Unova apart. Yeah, hold on to that thought, cause why on earth am I not pivoting at my washing machine against a clearly faster Pokemon? Dude, this was the best washing machine ever. It could wash your clothes and dry them. And I have to rely on the Scarf Sunshine to dry my clothes, dude. I think I need some form of pick-me-up. Let's just open up another egg. What is the League Pokemon? What could it be? I'm thinking. Oh, that's so fucking funny. Alright. So for anybody who has not witnessed the cancer that is League of Legends, this unknown, this question mark unknown, looks like the question mark ping from League. A lonely, that's crazy arm plate. That's Defeatist Toxic Prison Rage Nightmare. Oh, that's really fucking funny. Shout out Zeon. Whilst the first three gyms were all pretty vibes heavy, I decided to actually sit down and think about how to approach the fourth gym. If you take a closer look at Elisa's team, you will notice that Ampharos is a hidden weakness that can be exploited. You see, Ampharos has only 2 damaging moves that have immunities, meaning we can stall out the power points that these have to lock it into its non-damaging moves. Because Ampharos is not the first Pokemon, I need to make sure it comes in as early as possible, and to do so, I lead with Tyranitar baiting in a U-turn from the lead of Olga. Because Ampharos has a super effective move, it will switch in. And, for the first time, a Pokemon destined to be nothing more than a meme is playing a pivotal role in this fight. Gallos, the Shedinja, joins the fray as its immunity to Focus Blast allows us to pivot in tangent with Garchomp to style the Ampharos. Now that this Ampharos cannot do any more damage, it's time to initiate step 2 of our plan. It has done it before. It can do it again. We send in Paul Muad'Dib Atreides, Duke of Arrakis, the hand of God to be his witness. He is the voice from the outer world. He will lead us to paradise. No matter what Elisa throws in, the Duke shall claim its life, becoming king of Unova. After slapping some plasma grunts in the cold storage, we instantly look towards the 5th gym badge, and to be honest, the box is so unbelievably strong that there is very little opposition in a ground type gym. RWXO had handed in this interestingly named Beartic. I really think there's a theme going on here, but I try not to think about it too much. He challenged me to only use Beartic in the gym trainer fights, but I eventually got cold feet and didn't want to lose an interesting Pokemon. Maybe I am the problem. Anyway, with the trainers out of the way, it's time to take on Clay. Clay has a team focused around Sandstream and Powdon. However, as we no longer have Rotom Wash, I decided to bring in a new weather setter. Politoed. Because we have received a Swampert called Rain Team with Swift Swim, there were murmurs in the community that we would eventually reach the promised land, having a Rain Team to sweep our way to the top. And this fight gives us a taste of what it could be. The Rain setup, we can easily take out his entire team, and this is, excluding the first gym, by far the easiest fight of the run. Whilst N is one of the most iconic antagonists in some shape or form, we haven't actually mentioned a proper fight with him yet. Well, one of the more iconic fights from Blaze Black is N's fight in Chargestone Cave, where he's kitted out with a team of 6 Rotoms. This is a very difficult fight, and we have to go band for band. Hariyama is going to kill the very first regular Rotom with a payback, and that then brings in Rotom Fan. Now, Basti has always been a stellar Pokemon, so it will take out the Rotom Fan with a couple of body slams and snapping out of confusion because he's the GOAT. That then brings in Rotom Mo, and who else than Shira with a great typing to take out the Rotom Mo. This then brings in Rotom Freeze, and Beartic really should have taken this out, but it keeps on staying paralyzed, so I need to steer into Swampert, who then also sets up a kill on the Rotom Heat. Finally, we see an old friend, Rotom Wash, and whilst he's no longer with us, I don't think it's fair that N has one either, so Roserade will take out the Rotom Wash and ensure that we get through unscathed. But before we can actually take on Sile, the next gym leader, we need to take out some trainers. Not long before, we had received Gamba the Gengar, who only knows Metronome and Dark Void. It's challenged by the person who gave it, Axeas, to use it to its real potential, and Gamba decided to dance with death several times. Storm Throw, unlucky Gamba, we'll get him next time. Volt Tackle, big win. Is that the end of Gamba? That's not the end of Gamba. Just concerned of happening. Okay. Okay, Dark Void actually coming clutch. Charge Beam, let's get that special attack boost. Oh, wakes up. Psycho Cut. Oh, I might be the crit here. This might be the end of Gamba. Gamba doesn't die, baby. Okay, Gamba, you know the drill. Gamba! Gamba, no! Now, with all the shenanigans aside, let's have a look at Sile. Despite the early game and mid game being incredibly free, Sile is a real run killer that can stop you in your tracks if you do not have a strong box. Luckily, right before, we hatched eggs that will help us with it. RWXO submitted Vintage White the Pidgeot and Balls the Electrode. Callbacks to another ROM hack which has an incredible community behind it. Importantly, Pidgeot has no guard, meaning moves cannot miss, and not only that, but the Electrode has Flare Boost, and in tangent with Zap Cannon can easily shred this team from Sile apart. Sile is a triple battle, and I need to be sure what happens when. Oh, and guess what? Yet again a fight where Shedinja is actually good. Would you look at that? I lead with Shedinja, Pidgeot, and Electrode. Shedinja is baiting in all the kills, so all it does is click Protect. Pidgeot and Electrode use Zap Cannon. Whilst Bravery dies, it is the other side that hangs on. Whilst my turn 1 was pretty solid, it's the second turn that shows a glaring problem with my strategy. Whilst Pidgeot is able to fire off a Zap Cannon, it's the Zap Cannon miss from Electrode that makes me realize something. Because Pidgeot is on the far left, No Guard seemingly does not apply, which I was not aware of, and I miss on the Skarmory, which puts me behind in tempo. Pidgeot can take down the Swanna, and Shedinja switches out to safety, but my plan is in disarray. The next turn though, Pidgeot kills the Archeops and Electrode Volt switches into Blastoise. This then brings in Shedinja back, and Blastoise kills the Gliscor. Now, Shedinja was in a weird spot, and even though Pidgeot did its best, hitting the Hurricane, critting, confusing the already paralyzed Mandibuzz, despite all that, famous words from a famous VGC player, Wolfie, but it wasn't enough. The Mandibuzz is able to break past confusion and the paralysis and rips a Brave Bird into Shedinja. Heavy heart, I do get the 6th badge. But this is the thing about Nuzlocke. You never know what Pokemon you'll get attached to. Shedinja was so important for not only this fight, but also Elisa. Whilst on paper, it was a shell of its true potential, a Pokemon is only ever as good as its trainer. Das Leben ist gnadenlos, wir sind nun geilenlos. Well, the good news is that around this point in Blaze Black, you are basically cruising on regular trainers and only need to focus on the last few boss fights before taking on the Elite Four. So let's just move on to Bryson. And to be honest with you, Bryson is a cakewalk. Generally regarded as simple as clay, we easily eat this guy's ice cream for breakfast. Well, perhaps not the best time of day for it. I mean, even with this heatwave going on, that Scotland is getting none of. Yeah, Bryson, stick to acting, bucko. Because Team Plasma is tweaking, I need to go ahead and stop them real quick before we are met by yet another run killer. It's, funnily enough, Bianca in yet another triple battle. Up until this point, I'd been generally relying on good Pokemon, and I decided to play a bit risky on this fight to preserve the stronger Pokemon. I wanted to bring in slow and bulky Pokemon and use Trick Room, and attempt to use Sleet, Gamba, and Dark Void, and Spore from the dead. Trick Room plays a pivotal role in this fight, and slow Pokemon do incredibly well. However, this is a very risky strat. Smeargle is eventually sacrificed, and on the last turn, one of the most valiant members succumbs to its own item. Skizor takes a surf and U-turns out what I think is to safety. However, it succumbs to its own life orb damage, killing it. Shera was so good and a key member of this run. It switched into countless scary fights and was a menace with its set. In the end, the item that gave it the edge was the exact thing that would end it. Shera. After hours of this Egglocke, with Pokemon supplied by the community, we have reached the final gym. This fight is a rotational battle with a bunch of heavy hitters, but generally, if you have a strong dragon type, you should be set. Kanaki is bound to reign terror in this fight. He will single-handedly dominate this fight, once more bringing terror to Unova and its dead. Oops. Don't worry about it though. Nessie, Shildy, and Basti easily take over from the carnage Garchomp left behind, and we grab our final badge with ease. The last pretty scary fight before the Elite Four is the final confrontation with Charon. He's already claimed one of my Pokemon before, and I want to avoid any more rival deaths. Thank God this is a single battle, or this fight would be absolute hell on earth. Electrode begins the fight with a kill on the Staraptor with a Volt Switch, which then means we can bring in Quagsire, who kills the Alakazam with ease. Superior comes in and, incidentally, Kabutops with Sap Sipper easily takes care of this. Up until the point it doesn't, and Basti has to come in and clean up. However, Kabutops will return and kills the Gigalith. And then Simipour comes in, arguably one of the strongest Blaze Black Pokemon. I want to kill Simipour with Gliscor to chain kills, so I use Vaporeon with Water Absorb. Now, to my knowledge, there is something called Ability Storage, which should be working in my favor. If a Pokemon has an immunity, due to an ability, it thinks every other Pokemon has it until a new ability is shown. I completely forget that Poison Heal overwrites this, and I even predict exactly what is about to happen. Worst case, we put this into Torrent, and it clicks Water Spell. Okay, so ability confirming this doesn't fucking work in this game then. This is probably dead then. Never fucking mind, boys. Nah, my goat's got it. Luckily, Vaporeon is strong enough, and we can take out the Houndoom without any further problems, and we make it out unscathed. The walk through Victory Road is uneventful, and after hours of work behind us, we have made it to the gates of the Elite Four. Throughout this run, the community had come together to provide a mix of really good and really, well, interesting Pokemon, and it was my job to steer this run to this very point. A gauntlet of 4 double battles with incredibly volatile fights. It's now my job to select a key 6 Pokemon to get through this endgame. Thankfully, this Elite Four can be chosen in any order, and the first member we take on is Elite Four Marshall. He spots a fighting team with a variety of bulky and heavy hitters. This guy has the vibe of a high school bully who wants your lunch money, but you don't have any, so you plead with him, saying you have none on you because your mother packs your lunch free. This enrages him, as he's not felt the warmth of a loving home. He looks at you from top to bottom, and an anger begins to stir. He growls in anger and pins your arms against the wall, breathing heavily as he... Wait, shit. This is the wrong script. Anyway, we have a very simple plan for this fight. 1. Set up with Gliscor. 2. Use Protect, Slack Off, Roost, and Poison Heal to stay healthy. Number 3, win. So yeah, that was really easy. Hopefully nothing bad happens on the other fights. Grimsley is actually pretty straightforward to take care of. A lot of the times you actually want to keep this light part alive. Because throw Fling to Flame Orb at the Slowbro, it means that the Prankster Thunderwave is not a threat. Not only that, but because it has Sucker Punch, it allows Slowbro to bait in kills, but it will never attack. With one side being occupied, we can focus on the other side. This means that we can use Electrode and Gliscor to take out the opposition. To be honest, Marshall and Grimsley never posed a threat to our team. Gliscor and Slowbro are such a strong defensive core with incredible sustain that there was nothing ever to be concerned about. That is about to change. Caitlyn is the first real tricky fight. At its core, this team is exactly what I've been using for the prior 2 fights. A bulky team which has strong damage output. Caitlyn will lead the fight with a Musharna, which really wants to set up Trick Room or Screams, and a Sigilith holding the Life Orb, doing ridiculous damage. Other Pokemon will also want to set up Trick Room, meaning I am almost certainly going to have to deal with it, but the real issue is the Sigilith. It's actually pretty fast, meaning if I want to take it out, I need to be quick and do a lot of damage. I lead with the Duke of Arrakis, as its typing is very strong for this fight, and joining the Duke, that's right, the Baron of Bogs, a goddamn rat. This Raticate has literally only one purpose for this Elite Four: kill that Sigilith. Whilst the Duke is dishing out tons of damage, I am actually in a bit of an awkward position, and I realise that I cannot just switch into potential attacking moves on the slot that the rat is. So, having done the exact one thing I'd asked it to do, thank you, rat. Without you, this part of the journey would have been so much harder, as we've taken out 3 of the 4 of the Elite Four. The final fight is Chantal, and to be completely honest, I had no idea what my plan was going forward. It might seem a bit reckless, but in Pokemon Blaze Black, I can change my team after the Elite Four before taking on the final challenge. So really, all I need to do is not lose all of my 5 remaining Pokemon. I have an opener for my fight, but beyond that, I really have to play it by ear, and if something needs to fall, I am happy to do whatever it takes to get through. However, I do want to keep Gliscor and Electrode alive, as losing either of them would make the final push incredibly hard, and precisely one of them is about to fall. Jellicent, okay. Right, I need to double target this thing like nobody's business. I have to go for a Zap Cannon and EQ. That's fine, I don't care. I just need to chip this because Hydro Pump does a fuck ton. I'm just gonna pray that this kills. There's no fucking shot, dudes. Stay parried and or miss. Curse Body, Zap Cannon's fine. No fucking shot, dudes. That actually hits, gets through. Oh, is it dead? That's dead. Oh, and it's a crit. No way. I guess I should have switched. I was super confident that I could kill this. Okay, losing Gliscor is bad. Gliscor had only recently been part of the team, and to be honest, was set in stone for a final dance. Gliscor, we would have been utterly cooked for the Elite Four, as its bulk and offense are essential parts of its kit. Thank you, Gliscor. Despite the losses, we get through the Elite Four and storm towards the summit of Ents Castle, where I have to bring my final 6 Pokemon entrusted to me by the community. The final 2 fights to complete are fights with 2 of the most iconic characters in Pokemon, N and gets us. With my fateful 6 prepared, we take on N. The Duke leads us into the fray as it sees right through the illusion of Zoroark and decimates N's childhood hero. Old reliable Basti takes out the Aerodactyl by avoiding devastating crit damage. Then I see perhaps the most wonky Pokemon of the fight, Magmortar. Because I'd lost Gliscor, it is now Chansey's job to stall out the Magmortar, rotating between setting up Light Screen, healing up the Soft-Boiled, and letting it die to Toxic. After a few close calls, we make it out unscathed as the true Zekrom comes in. A Pokemon that I'd only shined previously was Noodle's Noodle, who puts the legendary to sleep. Quagsire is unable to finish the Zekrom without dying, but the legendary succumbs to its own life orb damage. Now where have I seen that before? Once more, it is Chansey's job to outsustain the opposition, as the far inferior Slowbro is slowly whittled down. N's final Pokemon is a Porygon Z, and it has an insane profile. It can do so many things. Normal Gem adaptability is so unbelievably strong. The answer? Toxic Stall it. Again. Once the fight is over, N starts yapping about ideals and how far we've come and blah blah blah. But the time for sentimental mood is over. It is time to finish what we started. It is time to take on the final fight of Pokemon Blaze Black and take this one home. The people call for a sweep as the Duke of Arrakis sets up multiple quiver dances, slaying both Drapion and Electros with boosted bug buzzing. However, the story of the Duke will end as the mighty Gyarados crashes its mighty Aquatail into the Duke. Balls comes in and decimates the quad weak Gyarados with a Volt Switch, allowing us to set up the Chansey versus the demon Hydreigon. You can guess what happens here. Oh, and look at that, a Dusknoir, a tanky, beefy we Toxic Stall it again. Gets' final Pokemon is a Genesect, holding a Focus Sash, and because it's part Steel, Chansey cannot Toxic Stall. But it will set up Light Screen to ensure the next Pokemon can take it on. The last of the 6 Pokemon was precisely brought for this exact matchup. A Ninetales, disguised as the Alolan variant, sets up Hail and eyes the mythical bug. Alolan Fake channels the energy of all of those that joined us on this journey, those that had played important roles, allowing us to get so far. Those that had fallen and not had the luxury of seeing us get this far, and those that remained eggs, never seeing the light of day. Whilst we had not caught and used the Reshiram that was presented to us, this will end with a Fusion Flare, as the bug is fried to a crisp, and Alolan Fake standing tall as the hail falls on the battlefield. And with that, my community really did help me beat Pokemon Blaze Black by submitting a mix of strong and interesting Pokemon. All of the submissions had so much personality, so a big thank you to everyone who took part. If you want to take part in our next Egglocke for Run and Bun, the hardest Nuzlocke out there, be sure to check the description to some eggs and join the Discord. And who knows, maybe your egg will also be part of the next great adventure.